I call this planning and zoning meeting to order at 6:34. There is a quorum present. We're going to public comments, non-agenda item public comments, white cards. Comments will be taken from the audience on non-agenda related topics for the length of time to not exceed 3 minutes per person. Agenda item public comments, yellow card. Comments will be taken from the audience on non-agenda and agenda items combined for the length of time not to exceed 5 minutes total per person on all items. Except for public hearing. Comments on public hearing items must be made when the items come before the commission and not to exceed 2 minutes per person. Non-action or discussion may be taken during public comments on non-agenda items. To address the commission, please complete the white or yellow card and present it to the city staff. At this time, we don't have any commissioners, but we do have an email from a citizen. Please take time to read that and go through it. That is the only one we have. Going on to public hearing. Public hearing number 1, conduct a public hearing concept plan amendment for the Manor Heights, adding phases 7 and 8 with 256 lots on 71.56 acres, more or less, and being located to the northeast of the intersection of U.S. Highway 290 and on Kimbrough Road, Manor, Texas.
Yes, this item is the concept plan amendment for Manor Heights. It's in sequence with the PUD amendment that has come through previously, and there will be items to follow in the future pertaining to the final plat as well. This is just the addition of phases 7 and 8 as contemplated in the original DA.
Any comments, commissioners? Do I get a motion?
I move we close the public hearing for item 1.
I have a motion for Commissioner Stedland. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second for Commissioner Terry. All in favor? Motion. Moving on. Conducting agenda item public hearing number 2. Conduct a public hearing excuse me, on specific use permit for 10,000 square feet of medical office space being generally located near the eastern corner of Boys to Ark and north of U.S. Highway 290, also referred to as 13400 East U.S. Highway 290, Manor, Texas. Commissioners, we do have Mr. Knight here for questions. Just to inform you, commissioners, Mr. Michael.
Yes, this item is, as it states, for a 10,000 square foot medical office. It is currently on the same lot as the presidential storage building that is being constructed. The intent is to, at some point, subdivide and attempt to have some sort of commercial entity on here. The request currently is for medical office. This does front 290, and it is on a sales tax eligible property for the city. I've had conversations with the engineer specifically about the intended use and what could potentially go there. If any further questions, I can certainly try my best to answer them, and we have a representative.
Any questions, commissioners? Can I get a motion to close public hearing?
I move we close the public hearing on item 2.
I have a motion by Commissioner
Second.
Stedland. Do I get a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Terry. Moving on, public hearing. Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Trying to get out of here today. All in favor? All in favor, raise your hand. conduct a public hearing on a specific use permit for commercial gas station development to include 8 MPDs and 4 EV charging stations in the Okra subdivision on one lot on 4.111 acres more or less, and being located at the northwest intersection of Old Manor Taylor Road and FM 973. Mr. Michael.
So this item was brought to the Planning and Zoning Commission prior in the form of a presentation, just to get your eyes on it, so you could have an understanding of what's being proposed and the general feel of it. It was on last month's meeting, but there was no quorum, so it was postponed, or I guess rescheduled to this meeting. The intent is to have a gas station on the commercial lot of the Okra subdivision. I am available for any further questions if any refreshers are needed, as we did discuss the item prior.
Any questions, commissioners? Do I get a motion to close public hearing number 3?
I move we close the public hearing on item 3.
I have a motion by Commissioner Stedslin, second. Second by Commissioner Terry. All in favor? Moving on to consent agenda items. All of the following items on the consent agenda are considered to be self-explanatory by the Planning and Zoning Commission and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussions of these items unless requested by the chairperson or a commission member, in which the event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Number 4, consider discussion and possible action to approve the Planning and Zoning Commission minutes for May 14th, 2025, Planning and Zoning regular session, and June 11th, 2025, Planning and Zoning Commission regular session.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion by Commissioner Stedslin. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second by Commissioner Mayor. All in favor? Motion passes. Regular agenda item number 5, consider discussion and possible action on a concept plan amendment for Manor Heights adding phases 7 and 8 with 256 lots on 71.567 acres more or less, and being located to the northeast of the intersection of U.S. Highway 290, Old Kimbrough Road, Manor, Texas. Mr. Michael.
Yes, this is the concept plan amendment as mentioned prior. I will do my best to answer any questions that the commission may have. I will remind everyone that this is a non-discretionary item, but we are able to answer questions about the lot layouts or anything of that nature.
I have a question. On the, I think it was phase 8, the pond in that one section that says park acreage of 13.01. Is that the pond itself included in the acreage?
One moment while I get to that. The 13.01 acre that you're mentioning, that's phase 4. Well, in terms of the acreage for this specific concept plan amendment, it's not included in that, but it would be included in the overall acreage for phase 4.
So the pond is part of the 13 acres.
The city parkland, yes, sir.
And and ponds are considered as part of the acreage for the parkland requirements?
In this instance, since the item, this has existed, I went back and did some research. This has existed since the concept plan's inception, so yes.
So so that pond will take away from the actual park.
So what I can say from how the code reads is that parkland floodplain cannot be considered parkland. It can only be considered open space. But in this instance, the council has the authority to accept something that essentially meets the expectations of what parkland should be in the area. And since they've already reviewed and approved this, I wasn't there, of course, at the time back in 2018, but it, I would assume, met the requirements of what council was expecting for this area. And I don't know if you can speak more to that, Patience.
All right, Commissioner, do you have any more questions?
We'll make it an easy agenda or minutes for her. I move approval. Oh, pardon me. I'm so sorry. I should just say this. There it is. I make a motion that we approve the concept plan amendment for Manor Heights, adding phases 7 and 8 with 256 lots on 71.567 acres, more or less, and being located at the northeast corner, located to the northeast of the intersection of US Highway 290 and Old Kimber Road in Manor, Texas.
I have a motion by Commissioner Stetzlin. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Terry. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Regular agenda item number 6, consider discussion and possible action on a specific use permit for 10,000 square feet of medical office space being generally located near the eastern corner of Boys to Ark and north of US Highway 290, also referred to as 13400 East US Highway 290, Manor, Texas. Commissioners, remember we have Mr. Knight here for any questions, but Mr. Michael.
Yes, this is, once again, 10,000 square feet of medical office being requested on a currently commercially zoned lot. This lot is eligible for sales tax claiming by the city, and as y'all may or may not be aware, that is something that the city council would like to utilize, as we do not necessarily have the ability to claim sales tax on all the properties annexed or a part of the city limits. I do want to point out that medical office does not offer the opportunity to claim sales tax.
Mr. Burrell, to that point, also, I believe the other use on that property, which is self-storage, is also non-sales tax generating revenue. We already know the answer to that, but I'm just putting it on the record.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Are there any other uses intended for this parcel?
That was the only one that was discussed between staff and the engineer. Did reach out considerably recently just to get their thoughts on potentially having whoever the tenant is for this office and the location directly across the street, just to provide a frame of reference. Across is where the large mixed-use development is going,
Yes.
and there will be ample room for a medical office and other entities of the like to work there.
Mr. Burrell, are there, is this property zoned for C1 or C2? I assume C2?
C2.
Okay, thank you. So all those other uses that are within the C2 envelope, without any exclusion, or minus any exclusions that may have been issued, are still possible in that property.
That's correct.
All right, thank you.
Have a question about the lot that's shown in the bold. I'm noticing that the parking is outside of that. What is that?
It's intended to be shared parking with the adjacent development.
For another development?
Yes, sir. I have no idea what the other use is intended to be, but this is a just preliminary site layout. It's not exactly what it's intended to be. They just wanted to provide a preliminary plan of what the building footprint could look like. But currently, that is intended to be shared parking. There's also a joint access easement. The city has a lift station. If you look at that little square on the southwestern portion of the lot, just outside of their property line, there's a lift station there. So we're working to achieving a joint access.
Also, it looks like the building extends into the water and wastewater easement.
Something we're also discussing in terms of how that can be addressed. This is just to get the use approved. The actual details of it and what the building footprint will be like is still being discussed. But very well aware of it. There's actually a massive drainage easement behind it. It's basically a detention pond. So this design will need to be workshopped. It's very preliminary as they're in the beginning stages of planning.
So I know this is the planning and zoning. So are we going to see a medical office building, or we approve and it turn into something else?
Are you asking if the specific use permit is approved? Are they guaranteed to put a medical office there? Not necessarily. It gives them the ability to, but it doesn't mean they will. And it also has to go to the council for consideration.
All right, commissioners, we got any more questions?
I'd like to make a motion that we advance staff's recommendation to deny the specific use permit for the 10,000 square feet of medical office space being generally located near the eastern corner of Bodark or Bow East Arc and the north of US Highway 290, also referred to as 13400 US Highway 290 in Maynard, Texas.
I have a motion by Commissioner Stetson. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Meyer. All in favor? Oppose? Sorry. Moving on. Regular agenda item number 7. Consideration, discussion, and possible action on a specific use permit for a commercial gas station development to include 8 MPDs and 4 EV charging stations in the Okra subdivision on one lot on 4.111 acres, more or less, and being located at the northeast intersection of Old Maynard Taylor Road and FM 973 Maynard, Texas. Mr. Michael.
Yes, this is the gas station for the Okra subdivision that was presented 2 P&Z meetings ago. It is coming from at the request of the developer, with the developer's agent presenting it. She is available for any questions, as am I if there's any additional context needed.
Mr. Burrell, can you speak to the staff recommendation?
Yes. So after internal discussion with upper staff, it was determined that the gas station was not necessarily the best and highest use for this property, being as there are so many in close proximity. One across 973 currently under construction, another to the south, and then HEB's gas station also at the intersection of 290 and 973. That's really all there was to it. Just the close proximity to not only gas stations, but considerably larger gas stations.
Thank you. Ms. Shanks, do you have any zoning limitations or restrictions placed on your property that would preclude you from pursuing other uses within your zoning category?
So
Just state your name for us. Yeah.
This is Rachel Shanks, the developer of Ochre Creek. So we were originally brought into the city as C2 with no restrictions. I came in with a PUD a couple years ago and had the mixed use of residential, and then we limited the C2. I don't remember all of the uses that were limited, but it was kind of the undesirable, like pawn shop, liquor stores, things that you don't want next to residents, like large things like car rentals, like large manufacturing, laundry washing, all those type of things. So we have a variety of uses. I think the nice thing about our 4 acres is that the subdivision is handling all of our detention. So while it is 4 acres,
It was on. Sorry.
I hit the button.
I see the. Oh, you can't see. Oh,
I couldn't see it.
Ms. Shanks, do you mind pulling a Linda Tripp and lean into the microphone? There you go. It's a new mic, by the way.
Okay. Can y'all hear me better now? This is awkward. Okay. A little too tall and I wore flats today. So the nice thing about Okra is that it's all usable for the 4 acres. So while we're asking for a gas station to be on part of it, the subdivision is handling all of our detention. So we're not having any space of all of the C2 zoning. It'll all be able to be, if we are able to have a gas station, and then the rest of it would be a strip center. Whereas if a typical 4 acres was coming in, you guys would lose, about an acre to a detention pond.
For on-site detention.
So I think that's the plus of this track. And I know that staff was saying that gas stations were close by, but I've been in that area a lot lately because my project is under construction and there are never any openings at the gas station that is currently so underway because it's very busy.
Can you, not that I love impervious cover, but can you speak to the if the SUP was not permitted, if the SUP was denied by us and or council, would you still be able to utilize that space there for another structure and also the green space here? Or is that non-developable?
So we would have to still comply with Mainer's impervious cover
limits. Okay.
Yes. So the like the gas station, like the pump station is kind of like the parking lot of the retail, so that would still be kind of just parking, and then that building could be potentially utilized for something else.
Okay, thank you.
But similar square footage.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
I think I might have mentioned this on the last time, but the street coming out to 290 there is not planned for a signal, correct?
That is correct. We are connected to Monarch's commercial. I kind of designed it that way. I also did Monarch's entitlements. So they have 4 acres of commercial that's adjacent to ours. And we're going to have like similar access all the way through. And Monarch has a traffic light. So my goal with designing this project was contiguous commercial so that you would have 11 acres from Monarch in total because they have like 7 and 4 and then R4, and that everything would be accessible through that traffic light. And I also upsized Vidalia, which I wasn't required to do as our entrance, to be a collector instead of a residential street.
Ms. Rachel, I'm trying to, I know I've lived here a long time. Your Okra is right behind those, I think it's 2 houses, but it may be 1 house. That
Yes,
is
the
right there.
Velasquez's.
Yes, ma'am. So you're right behind her.
We are, so if you look at the red circle, we're
Right.
like north of them. So they're that triangle where Old Maynard Taylor Road just kind of dead ends.
Right.
And I went through the process of, and there's a long history on Old Maynard Taylor Road and
Yes.
whether it's a road, not a road, and who owns it and all that
Yeah.
fun stuff. But so we're north of Henrietta.
And so is that where the store would be? So if you were to come straight out of Suncrest, is that you would be deading north of Suncrest.
This is Suncrest.
Yes.
This is Old Mayor Taylor Road. This has been abandoned.
Right.
Given back to the Velasquez's, and so the Dahlia is the new entrance, and it'll be here.
Okay. We have any more questions, commissioners? Thank you, Ms. Rachel.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioners, I'd like to make a motion that we advance staff's recommendation to deny the specific use permit request for a commercial gas station development to include 8 MPDs and 4 EV charging stations in the Okra subdivision on one lot on 4.111 acres more or less, and being located at the northwest intersection of Old Maynard Taylor Road and FM 973 in Maynard, Texas.
I have a motion come by Commissioner Stedland. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And second by Commissioner Myers. All in favor? Opposed? I make a do I get a motion for us to adjourn the planning and zoning?
I so
meeting?
move.
I have a motion by Commissioner Stetson and a second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Myers. All in favor?
Time.
At 7:01.